The pass-through grant is where we show money coming in, fake money. You make an accounting posting, and then when it's paid, we show it was paid, even though we didn't write the check.
It's basically an in and an out.
And in and out. So they call those intergovernmental. Now, there, in addition to that, let's say we have a percentage that is ours, it may still be in that amount of true cash out the door, but typically you see that as, because the way we do it is we typically pay for engineering, and we do that all professional technical services. That way it's not even in that pass-through. And it's just, they're accounting entries, no real cash.
They have to be
All right, it is 6:33 PM on June 13th, 2024. We'll call the finance meeting to order. I've been advised there is no video again tonight. Again, we're still working with our contractor on that, but we do have sound. Please speak up into the microphones when you talk, just because we are having some trouble picking up some people. We are looking at adding another microphone, 2 microphones, so everyone has one. So that way we kind of get rid of that issue as well. More to come on that. All right, so we'll start with roll call, please.
Michelle Dumont, Bob Hayborn,
Here.
Corey Harrier,
Here.
All right, do I hear the approval for the regular minutes for May 9th, 2024 for the finance meeting?
I'll make a motion.
Corey made the motion. Any comment? If not, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All in favor say
Aye.
aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we'll go into the approval of documents first. Has everyone had a chance to review their documents?
Yes.
Yes.
And are there any questions on those that are presented? All right, do I have a motion to approve cash journal, cash summary by fund, fund ledger, fund status, payment listing, revenue status, appropriation status, bank reconciliation, and NSF report?
Yes. I'll make a
Corey
motion.
made the motion.
I'll second.
Bob second. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right. I
I
don't,
did not put mayor's court on that list of documents.
that's fine.
Okay.
You guys will need to sign these.
In snail mail, we didn't get the original bank rec, so, but there is I printed off like the report off of the bank account. These are tickets. They don't do checks cash, so we don't need that.
All right, for old business, is there any old business to bring up? I am working on the 2025 tax budget. It is due in July. It'll be right after our next council meeting. We'll probably have to end up having a special meeting to be able to complete that, just as an FYI. Once we get that completed, we'll have a 5-minute meeting to approve that. And again, that tax budget basically becomes our operating budget. At the beginning of the year is kind of how we build that, so. Right now, just the way things are looking, you know, every dollar we bring in, we're spending just because of, you know, the cost of material, everything. Plus, you know, keeping up with the approvals and all that. One thing I do want to point out is, you know, standing up a police department, why we have charges with that. Again, next year, it appears they're not going to be charging us labor for that. With a caveat, we would like to stand up part-time officers just to have them. So that way, in those cases, there is a need. So I am building some money in there just for some part-time officers. I think it's like coming out to like $20,000 a year, just to have something there, and just see how that works out. And that way it's in that budget and built in there. If it's used, it's used. If it's not, but again, you know, majority of the hours are taken by Nick, the chief. He volunteers his hours. One thing that he is asking for next year is if we would pay into his retirement through the state. And I'm trying to figure out, do we actually have to pay him a salary, take that out, and then he's willing to donate what he takes home back to us? If that's the case, or if we can just make a lump sum contribution. And so I still have like those questions out to the state to find out what we can or can't do there. So those are like the new things.
So if he's a state employee, he'd be paying into over
No, full-time, because he's considered a full-time chief.
Okay.
Full-time pays into fire and police pension, not
Okay.
OPERS. If you're part-time, you pay into OPER. So our part-time officers would pay into OPERS, but it's a higher percentage rate. It's 18% versus 15%. And then the fire and police pension is like around 18-20%. I have the numbers somewhere on my spreadsheet.
How we gonna figure what the, apply to it?
Well, I have them, OPERS for a part-time officer is 18.1, regular OPERS is 14, and fire and police pension is 19%, is what our costs are on those. Then one other change that I have in here, just because, like, we're getting down to, I don't want to say zero, but like we're getting really tight, is, and this will be a festival committee issue, but if everything goes great next year like it is this year, is we will still put everything through our books, however, the village would not advance $4,000 to them. Okay, as far as not budget-wise, type thing. And they're, you know, if this year comes true the way it's looking, like, we're in good shape, you know, and if we keep up that cadence, so. But those are like the two big things in the general fund. Street fund, really no change other than, you know, everything keeps going up. Utilities, everything. Rec and combo, it pretty much stays the same. You know, we'll look more into that as we get closer. Depending on what pay or minimum wages next year, but, you know, I have that built in for next year. When the pool opens, because this year, most guards are making between $11 and $11.50 an hour. So for next year's budget, I'm budgeting $12 an hour, just, you know, because it goes up every year, and that way we're competitive. The police fund itself, you know, it just pays for the normal everyday business, which, you know, covers what we currently do. Permissive pretty much pays for our street lights, which is over $12,000 a year. And water, you know, water's staying stable. But again, we're not making money on anything. So, the one thing that did help us, that will help us next year is mayor's court, honestly. By standing up the police department, the mayor's court is what's,
See, there's a little bit of
Yeah.
income from it already.
yeah, so that's really what's helping it out. And it's not, when I say mayor's court, it's not fines, it's the mayor's court fees that goes to the general fund to help pay for things, but that's kind of what helps everything. The fines are a little bit different, so, because I don't want people to think we're doing mayor's court to make up our difference. It's not how that works, but.
Yeah, absolutely not.
All right. One thing that we may need to look at for next year, which we'll get into this, you know, this fall, normally do a 3% increase on water bills, which we've consistently done, except for last year, and we done that increase again. We may have to look at more than 3% again, just because everything keeps going up. But we'll kind of see where things are at towards the end of this year. And that way we can keep doing improvements and stuff like that. I think that's about it. Everything else is kind of the same for the budget, but we'll get that done. How are you? And then the only other piece that I had was, I do have to give you updates on Mayor's Court now. So let me grab that real quick. And since this is new to us, it just says I have to update you. It doesn't say how, what type of information. So we kind of talked about, like, you know, what do you guys want to see? So if you guys want more detail, less detail, it's fluid at the moment. This is just a, did you give me a copy of it?
Did you give him a copy of that?
Oh, what?
The mayor's
The
report?
mayor court stuff?
I didn't make copies of Mayor's Court. Did you make copies of Mayor's Court?
No.
I thought you were putting it on the packet.
All right.
No, I thought you were.
You don't have copies?
I have it in an email.
I can probably find it. If you shoot it to me, I can print it real quick.
That's fine.
Well, I have, you know what, I probably have it right here. Well, I have March and April.
Okay, so it'll be the April.
So what you give him is, right?
No. The dispersal. It's the one that goes the other way. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Why don't you have it?
3925 your total for
Yes.
April? Okay. Just so I'm making sure I'm apples to apples. So within Mayor's Court, each case, each ticket that's written gets a court charge.
This one.
Most of it goes to the state, we keep some of it, and then there's a fine. So the report will break it out into all the different costs. It'll tell you what is due to the village, what's due to the state, what's due to the county, and all that. So the report you'll get will actually say that, and then what the fines are. So for the month of April 2024, our total cost was $3,050. Of that, the village revenue was $1,646. The rest of it goes into state and computer funds. And then total revenue from fines was $875. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we're at with different things.
She's making a copy of it. I
yeah.
did have it.
But I'll let you guys look at it. I think I mean, for what you guys wanted to see, I'm assuming it's just financially how we're doing. And on there, you can gauge like, okay, why are we seeing all of a sudden, Jason, you're 4 times what you normally are,
Yeah.
like there'll be indicators there. Now, this is a month-to-month report, so it won't give you the summary, but then we can break this out into what accounts they go into. When you look at your financials, you'll see that.
You're only doing it every other Monday, right?
It's twice a month, second and fourth Monday of each month. And there's 2 Mondays that fall on holidays that we just skip. So they only get once a month. But we've been averaging about 30 tickets per court hearing, meaning that's how many tickets are written in 2 weeks. And then we probably hear between 7 and 15.
Sorry, Corey.
So, most everything is for speed, and when you get Nick's report in council, he kind of has some stats at the bottom of kind of where we're at with some different things, so. But if you guys are good with that, that's kind of how we will proceed with it, but again, at any time, we can change how you guys want this information given to you.
No, I need
Okay.
a copy, but I'll print another one. Here it is. I'll just print it real quick.
What is indigent drivers A1C treatment fund?
Those are state funds, so those are just special funds that's been set
Oh,
up
is that for
by,
alcohol? Is that ALC?
probably, yeah. Yeah, here in the middle where it says account, has an account number that goes into our accounting system, and that'll tell you what account it goes to.
Got it.
If it doesn't, it tells you where it goes, whether it's the county or the
County or
state.
yeah.
And those are state mandated. Those aren't fees we make up. These are the fees that the state says you have to have in
For
order to
sure.
have mayor's court.
Yeah,
How's it going?
like the computer fund, so
Yes.
Sam will get a
Okay.
new
Yes.
computer
Yeah,
to.
and they say that fund is $3 for the clerk, $10 for the courtroom. Like, they specify those fees. We don't make those up.
Right,
So
I remember you
this is,
saying that.
this is what I do, so I can say we've reconciled
Mhm.
it, which is basically the same thing. This is what Brian does.
Yeah.
So do we want to have them sign off on this or no?
In my opinion, because this is before UAN,
Yeah.
there's no need to start something new, and if it gets forgotten, we get a finding on it. Unless finance wants this. To me, this is, state law just says I have to update them on mayor's court.
Okay.
But they
I
sign
don't know-
off,
Well, and we'll know the 24th whether we have to do any of this with the auditors, because I'm gonna ask.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking we had to I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it just needs to be reconciled, and this
yeah,
is
well,
reconciling it.
you have to show, well, when I say you have to do something to reconcile between the two systems. So if this is what you choose, that's fine. This is
Right.
your vehicle.
This is what Brian
Yeah.
uses, and that's
And
why
I think it's a
did
great
that.
thing, but as far as adding something for finance,
Uh-huh.
if they want it, they can,
Okay.
but then you're adding
I
more,
was just looking as
Yeah.
a double check is what I was thinking.
and it's
but-
up to you guys on how you wanna do that.
Well, like the auditors will be here the 24th through
Mhm.
the 26th.
Yeah.
So we'll ask them, we'll just ask them then, see
Yeah.
what,
Yeah, have them take a glance at it, which I have some updated notes for you on how I wanna change that for next year, or probably this year,
okay,
after I got Brian's email back.
okay,
So, not that we're doing anything wrong, it's just, I like
Okay.
the way he does his. It's less
Okay.
movement of money.
okay.
You'll like it, I think, because it's less movement of money. Oh, you're welcome. I figured it might be easier. All right. Any questions? If not, Michelle, do you have anything? Corey?
Nope.
Bob? All right. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Corey made the motion, second by Bob. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 6:47.
Or A.
Hey,
A.
What time did we stop?
What's up,
Mom.
Madam
We stopped at
President?
6:47.
Mom said that the grass was fine.
What time did we stop?
6:47, same.
Who made the adjournment?
Corey.
I made the
Corey
motion,
and
Bob
Bob.
seconded.
Where you been at?
I'm glad she gave you that dirty look. Jason comes over there and stirred her up today.
So on the zoning meeting, I reached out to Roger and.
We
must have
started
something
at
else, so he asked
6:03.
me to follow back up.
6:33.
6:33, sorry.
Okay.
Now, Louise says he wants to talk to me.
All right.
Well,
Please.
yeah, please just hit stop because Mike texted me back. I'm gonna try this.
I do too.